Hello everybody and welcome back to Crypto Simplified. Sorry I've been away for a really long time. It's been almost 3 weeks since my last upload, and for that I sincerely apologize. In the time that I've been back, I've been trying to catch up on the market since there's been a lot of dramatic price movement in the last 15-20 days. I'm really glad that the whole Bitcoin ETF stuff has sort of died down a little bit right now. Since it's such a contentious topic, I do have to cover it on my channel, and hopefully I can hold out until there's actually concrete news regarding this. There's way too much hearsay, and I just want to avoid that sort of thing. While I've been back from the farm, I have been working on a really exciting project. Folks, I should give you more information closer to the release date. However, before I get into the video, I want to thank all of you folks for the fantastic support. Thank you for hanging around, and I promise to repay that faith with some of the best content that I've uploaded yet. It's a promise both to you and to myself that I'm going to keep working at this, keep putting in those hours to try and research and to understand what cryptocurrency is all about, and understand how we can make this world better using distributed technology. So let's jump into this market update then, and let's have a look at the price action. Bitcoin, for the first time in what feels like forever, has breached the 7,000 US dollar mark. Is this a momentous occasion that's showing us signs of a recovery? Well, we don't really know right now, but what we do know is that there's some great volatility in the alts. So if you are buying at that ridiculous low that we recently experienced, there will be a chance for you to really make a lot of money in this market. Holochain is one of those projects that I am invested in, and I'm quite happy to see the price shoot up the way it is right now. But there has been plenty of green among lots of the altcoins without it really reflecting in the Ethereum price. We still have Ethereum that's below 300 US dollars. I still think Ethereum is an absolute steal at this price, and if it was easier for me to buy cryptocurrency in India, I would totally be buying right now. However, we don't have the luxury of that over here. So I'm just going to wait it out. I do have some capital I do want to put into this, but I do hope that we get something sorted out in this country regarding banks and cryptocurrency regulations before I put my money in. Buying the stuff over the counter on the local Bitcoin style site, I'm not too excited about that. This whole thing is supposed to be a trustless value transfer system, and I don't like how that goes. Of course, I'd much rather use a centralized system over meeting a rando and sending them money and hoping to get my Bitcoin in return. There's too much that's up in the air in those situations, especially when you're dealing with large sums of money like this, so I don't want to get involved in that. So for the sake of people looking to consolidate their holdings, I do hope that the government sorts this out. I do hope that money will rush from Bitcoin into the alts, but this $230 billion market cap is significantly better than what we had just a couple weeks ago. So I do hope that we can continue this upward trajectory and get at least to 500 billion by the end of this year. Of course, nothing is guaranteed. If people tell you they know which direction the price is going to go, you're best off just taking whatever they say with a pinch of salt. No one knows what the price is going to be. People trying to predict prices on Twitter are just running their own reputation through the dirt, really, because there's no real factual evidence for where the price is going to be. The best you can hope is set your targets. Set your buy targets as low as you feasibly think Bitcoin's going to go, or any of the alts for that matter, and set your sale targets before you see any signs of a bull run. Folks, as long as you're keen in your profits, you're doing well. I got a fair bit of shit on Twitter for selling my MWAT tokens at the price that I did, but I only did that because I made a decision to sell on the up. Personally, I find it much easier to sell on the up because then you don't feel shitty about having lost potential profits. Well, as shitty as if you see it go up but hodl and then the price drops again. A lot of the assets that I own are in major losses, some as much as 65%. So I believed in those tokens when I bought them at the time. So them being down however much hasn't really shaken my belief in the long-term potential of these projects. I did the research before I invested, and of course we had those awful market pullbacks that came out of completely nowhere, and they have significantly taken a hit on my investment. However, I still believe in those projects, and any capital that I had, I did put back in to buy at a much lower price. Because if something is down 50%, it needs to 2x for you to get your money back. That's zero profit. That is just you breaking even. So I'm buying low. When I reach my break-even point, I have a sell point that's keyed in there in anticipation of it hitting that sell point. So that means I'm going to get my money back, and if depending on how much you buy at that lower price, you can even profit from that. And all my early investments, I'm just going to keep hodling them. I'm in this market for the long term. I'm absolutely not worried about the long-term potential of cryptocurrency. However, I am waiting for a bull market to cash out a bunch of my shitcoins. While the definition of shitcoin is something that people apply to everything that's not Bitcoin, that's really not how I see it. I see plenty of value in this market. However, I do believe the long-term prospects of some of my investments have changed. So I would like to get out of them and consolidate into the projects that I do believe in. However, I'd like to reiterate that I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. Do share your trading strategies with me. Trading is an art form. There is no right or wrong way to trade, and the more perspectives you get on board, the more you can improve at your trading game. So I rambled on a bit over there about trading and strategy. So let's get right into the news then. First up, this is actually very, very important. The Bitcoin mining hash rate has gone up by 35% in the last 2 days. So if you know about Bitcoin mining and how hash rate works, this has a self-correcting difficulty. So that means that there is a chance that there could be blocks mined quicker than expected for a short period of time before the mining difficulty self-corrects. Some people are saying that this is a bullish sign. Some people are talking about Samsung entering the mining market. I, however, believe that this is just a sign simply to show that people believe that mining Bitcoin is profitable again and could be significantly more profitable in the future. That's it. I'm not going to read in any further than that because it costs about $6,000 to mine a single Bitcoin, $6,000 in electricity. Now that we're considerably above that, it's profitable. And as the price of Bitcoin goes further up, there will be more miners joining the city. There will be more miners joining the network. There will be more hash rate, and there will be more security on the network. So this is just better for the longevity of Bitcoin. So next up, it seems that a whole bunch of XRP, Ripple, has been moved from one wallet to another. Normally, this isn't really something to talk about, but this has been billions of dollars. About 15% of the total Ripple supply has been moved from one wallet to another. And the fees were basically negligible. It costs a cent to move billions of dollars. So whatever you think about Ripple, if you think it's too centralized, if you think it's just aiding the banks, in terms of value transfer, Ripple has it completely spot on, and you cannot fault them for that. They are improving a system where there is a need and an existing problem. They've taken that problem, Swift, and they are well on their way to making it obsolete. So well done, Ripple family. You guys have outdone yourselves over here. This is a very, very solid piece of tech. The whole decentralization argument is for another day, but let's just focus on their achievement for now. Very, very well done. Next up, let's have a look at India-based news. And it looks like Microsoft are going to be the ones that will address the call spam that we get in India. If you don't live in India, you have no idea. It's very, very possible to get 3, 4, 5 calls from spammers every single day. That's why applications like Truecaller are on almost everyone's phones, so that you get a flash saying that this could be potentially a spam call, so you don't need to answer it. There are also automatic call blockers for these spammers, but it just doesn't seem to be enough because spammers will always find a way to get through. The methods of how they're going to be curbing spam calls haven't been revealed just yet, but this is something that will truly bring value to people. So if any news about this comes out, I will definitely let you folks know. Next up, we have more India news, and the government of West Bengal in India are using a blockchain for birth certificates. This is one of those use cases that cryptocurrency and blockchain tech seems tailor-made for. Birth certificates, land registries, all these things that ideally should be untamperable should be on a blockchain. And the fact that a state as highly populated as West Bengal sees this as an opportunity, this will only mean good things to the cryptocurrency community on the whole, especially in India, where cryptocurrency is not really seen as something that's too kosher. Speaking of cryptocurrency not being kosher, we have some more scammers. A gang in Thane, that's near Mumbai, has been calling people mainly in the US, asking them to pay their loan taxes with Bitcoin. Either these people haven't been reading the news very much and hoard a lot of Bitcoin, or in their panic they bought Bitcoin to pay these taxes to unknown people. Again, this stuff doesn't really help the case for cryptocurrency because of how easy it is to scam people. But this isn't a cryptocurrency problem. This is a people problem. People need to sharpen up and to be a little bit more critical about things like this. As long as there is money and ways for people to freely give up their money, there will be people trying to take that money. We have to be extra careful about this sort of stuff, especially now that it's very easy to send money and we do not have a way to bring it back. He who controls the private key controls the money. So people nowadays, we have to be extra vigilant. Next piece of news I'm looking at is a tweet from Coinbase saying that 42% of the world's top 50 universities now offer at least one course on cryptocurrency or blockchain. This is a field of study that will no doubt be skyrocketing in terms of interest. So I believe it's a great time to study cryptocurrency because we are right at the beginning of the journey. You get in there now, you can be one of those people who really contributes to this growth in cryptocurrency's infancy. You can make a name for yourself quite easily, and companies all want blockchain experts. So if you're a programmer, you already have a lot of the skills that you need to get involved. So I highly suggest you folks do some online courses. There's loads and loads of free material there, but a lot of people in the cryptocurrency space are against education, especially formal education like this, and that is something that I cannot agree with at all. While people talk about the debt trap that colleges bring, the networking ability that you get over there, the access to intelligent people to bounce ideas off, I think this is invaluable. So especially if you have a project that you already want to implement, go to university, bounce your ideas off your peers, meet professors who can help you with this, and use the platform of a university to get better internships and better access to information where you can develop your ideas. If you do not trust these educational system, that's your decision. Completely valid perspective, but this is how I see it. Speaking of students, a Coinbase survey shows that 18% of US students now own cryptocurrency. Owning cryptocurrency, you can even own $5 worth of cryptocurrency that you got from an airdrop and still own cryptocurrency. So this doesn't really tell us the whole picture, but what it does tell us is that people are very interested, especially the people in these fast learning, highly exposed environments are in favor of it. Just under 20% of people. Again, we are in very, very early days. Whoever is involved in cryptocurrency now is not an early adopter. You are one of the crazies, and us crazies need to band together to make sure that we get some legitimacy in this space. That's why people talking about companies that are working with the banks and with institutional investors, while we don't like them as cryptocurrency enthusiasts, we cannot discount the sort of credibility that they will bring to our field. And of course, since we're in there early, we can only benefit from these developments that are happening on a much larger scale. Next up, President Maduro is forcing Venezuelan banks to use his dodgy cryptocurrency called the Petro. So, if you've been following what's happening in Venezuela, ridiculous amounts of inflation. So the president has released a new currency called the sovereign bolivar to replace the existing bolivar that is just inflating out of control. So this new currency, they've knocked off several zeros from the old currency, and they have been linking this currency to Venezuela's chief export, petroleum. So one petro is the same price as 1 barrel of oil, which is about $60 US. People have been criticizing this because, of course, having a sovereign cryptocurrency goes against almost every single idea of independent money, money by consensus, and this doesn't have the same sort of safeguards like Bitcoin has, with the standardized issue rate and block halvening and all that sort of stuff. So this is an attempt to save a failing economy. This is also something that you cannot discount. How can you save an economy that is spiraling out of control? At least they're asking themselves these questions and they're acting on it. They're trying to take the best of two worlds. This is, as an experiment, this is the first of its kind. So we just have to see how this goes, because we have literally nothing to work on from history. So this will be very interesting, but our thoughts are with the people of Venezuela right now. I do hope that this gives you some sort of respite from this crippling hyperinflation. But while the government has released this cryptocurrency, it seems that there is a surprise contender for the top dog in cryptocurrency in Venezuela. It's not Bitcoin. It's not Ethereum. It's Dash. And the price of Dash really spiked up. This article suggests that the reason for Dash to be such a valuable commodity, especially in Venezuela, is fast transfer time. So people are planning on using this actually as a currency. Of course, there are several lucky people around the world who got in here early and they bought up Dash Masternode. So they're getting a lot of great passive income, even though the Dash price has been really low for some time now. Dash was hit worse than a lot of the other major cryptocurrencies when Bitcoin plummeted, and then when we had these recent huge pullbacks, Dash really suffered. I'm saying this as a Dash holder. I haven't really had a good time holding Dash, and I have nowhere near enough Dash for a Masternode. I'm sure the Masternode folks are doing okay because they would have bought in way earlier before all this pullback nonsense happened. So next up, we have some major news regarding Telegram, especially regarding the privacy aspect of Telegram. So Telegram as a messaging service got immensely popular once WhatsApp was bought over by Facebook. Telegram has very strong end-to-end encryption, as does WhatsApp, but Telegram, their CEO and creator, is a bit of a maverick. This guy, Pavel Durov, is someone who I really admire. He believes in people's rights for autonomy, and he is a huge champion of free speech and privacy. So now Russia has banned Telegram because of their ICO. So they're raising a whole bunch of money, and now you can easily send cryptocurrency on Telegram. There are loads of Telegram tip bots, and it's very easy to have even escrows on Telegram. However, the government now has banned Telegram in Russia, forbidding service providers from giving people access to this. So Pavel Durov has been contacting the international community, where people are now hosting the Telegram servers, and basically he's paying them to be proxies. So the only way that this situation will be resolved in Russia is if Telegram hand over their encryption keys to the government. However, being an end-to-end encrypted platform, it's not something that they can physically do. They can't look at every single person's messages because that's just the nature of the encryption of this platform. So the situation is tricky. It's a bit of a standoff. I do hope that there is a compromise that's found and that people aren't forced to cave into government demands. Next, we have a bit of a cliche and a recurring talking point that I need to discuss. I have made a video on this in the past. I shall attach that in the description and on the cards at the end of the video. But it's about Bitcoin's energy usage and consumption. People talk about Bitcoin being the worst possible thing for the environment. They talk about Bitcoin mining consuming 1% of all the energy that's generated in the world right now. But it's very easy to get lost in the numbers because what Bitcoin is actually doing is using cheap or below cost electricity for mining. A lot of the energy used to mine Bitcoin, especially that's generated from renewable sources, that energy would have been wasted if the Bitcoin miners weren't ready to take it. In Shenzhen, China, there are a ton of hydroelectric plants. Thing is, these things cannot run all the time, especially if there's flood water. The gates need to be open and the water needs to be released. So they are still producing electricity in those times. And all this electricity just ends up getting wasted. However, the Bitcoin folk come in and then they offer to buy this electricity that would have been generating zero revenue for a price that's lower than market cost. So everyone wins because the miners get cheap energy and the producers don't have to throw away all their money. This article talks about many more aspects that actually completely negate the whole idea about Bitcoin being a waste of energy, and I highly recommend you check this out. Link in the description as always. Next up, we have some companies that talk big, but can they actually walk the walk? Well, Google Play has spoken about banning mining apps. However, there are still quite a few mining apps on the platform. Hardfork wrote an earlier article talking about the best mining app or the most popular mining apps, and this just seems to be a bit of a post-mortem, like 30 days after the ban. They're just talking about the state of mining apps available on the Google Play Store. If mobile mining is something that you do and you still want to continue doing it, do check out this article to get any alternatives on how to continue with your mining action. Let's talk about China's positioning as a global blockchain superpower. You might have noticed that a lot of my videos are on Chinese projects or Southeast Asian projects, and this is not something that I've actively been trying to do because I live in Asia. Not at all. I just do my research. I try to read as much as possible. I try to look at where the innovation is happening, and honestly, I do this by just going on CoinMarketCap and just clicking on every single official website for the tokens that are listed, because the only way that I can actually find good projects is to look at a whole bunch of projects. Most will be bad, some middle of the road, but you get a few gems occasionally, and they just happen to be from China and Southeast Asia. And this is because there is an absolute ton of research happening in this part of the world. This article that I'm currently on will give you a whole bunch of information about the sort of research that's happening there. But in general, a lot of these Chinese cryptocurrency projects were companies before they were cryptocurrency startups. They were operational, they had revenue, they had an existing user base, they had a problem, and they can see, okay, blockchain can solve this. I believe the opposite is what's happening with a lot of ICOs right now. People have an idea, they want to fundraise, and then with that money that they raise, they want to set up their infrastructure. This is tricky and very, very high risk, which is why a lot of ICOs will actually never deliver on their promises. If they don't have a working product, they're relying on you to give them the money so that they can get external people and build their product. So that is why I tend to stick to these Chinese companies for my reviews, because they actually have a product, and I feel much more comfortable investing in a project, even in an early stage, if they have a functioning product and user base, because that is something that's really difficult to get off the ground. And I appreciate all the effort that they've gone through to bootstrap themselves to that level. They have true believers working in these companies. They believe so much in the project that they're going to work for free or for absolute peanuts, for the promise that what they're contributing to right now is something that is much bigger than what it is, and it will be something that is huge and maybe even adopted globally. Of course, the Chinese market's so huge, things don't need to be adopted globally in order for people to become very, very wealthy and to contribute a ton to the way business is done. So, having said all that, I want to thank all of you folks for being a fantastic bunch of subscribers. Thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, do give me a like. If you didn't like it, do leave some constructive criticism in the comments. If you have any news that you'd like me to cover, you think that I've forgotten, do let me know. I am open to taking any coin and token suggestions, so please let me know which projects have caught your eye. So that's it from me, folks. I do have some great content coming at you over the next few weeks, but until then, you folks take care. We should catch up very, very soon.